Bald spot? All right, see. Shirts in focus. Nipples erect.
Oh, yeah.
All right, okay.
And we're rolling.
Hi, I'm Mike Ferrantino, Santa Cruz Bikes, marketing stooge. Talking to you from scenic Interbike, Las Vegas, in the beautiful and well-ventilated Sands Expo Center where everything is good. At our minimalist booth, the Unbooth, our protest, thank you Interbike. Looking at what we've got for this next year. This and this are Steve Pete and Nathan Rennie's prototype V10 race bikes, which are identical to what we're selling right now as the newly relaunched V10. Compared to the old V10 downhill bike, we have changed an awful lot of stuff. About the only parts that actually exist in common with the old bike are the linkage yokes here and down here. Everything else, every other tube, the dropouts, carbon upper link, entire front triangle has been pared down. We've saved almost 2 pounds off of the frame weight. And a lot of that's a push just to get lighter, snappier downhill bikes. Downhillers are tired of riding 50-pound bikes. So, lost 2 pounds in frame weight, kept the bike as strong as it was before. Carbon upper link is actually stiffer than the aluminum upper link that it's replacing. And aside from that, we've revised the linkage ratios. It now sits a little higher in its stroke than it did before, and it's a little bit livelier in terms of its suspension feel. You could say it's the sacrifice of being super plush off the top, but a lot of that's also because the racers are asking for more pedaling efficiency, snappier, more responsive behavior. So that's the revision of the suspension for that purpose, and the rest of it is what she wrote. These are their bikes that we did up with some custom paint jobs just for World Championships in Fort William. Thought they'd be good luck paint jobs, but it didn't really work out that way. But they're both still alive. They're also the same frames they've been riding on almost all year. We haven't had any failures on these yet. And it is identical, aside from the paint job, to what you can buy as of, I don't know, next month, thereabouts. So that's that one. This is pretty much the opposite end of the spectrum from the downhill bikes. It's our first official offering of a cyclocross frame. What we're doing here is, using Easton EA6X aluminum, made in Portland. Frame weight on this, a 54 centimeter anodized frame, is 1,200 grams. That's about 2.68 pounds. Powder coated ones are about 100 grams heavier. That's still perversely light. We're getting bikes built up with SRAM force group and carbon fork and some pretty decently light clinchers, but nothing too spectacular. Building up right around 17 pounds. A lot of people might think that we're just a dual suspension mountain bike company. We all love cross. Santa Cruz got a pretty rich tradition of cross as a community. Most of us who are working there have raced or are racing cross, and this is something that we don't expect is necessarily going to be the biggest seller in the world, but it's what we want to ride. It's a kick-ass bike. It is not really a touring bike or a commuting bike. There's no rack or fender braze-ons. It's stripped right down, all business, no fucking around whatsoever, and $850 for powder coat frame, $950 for anode, made in the USA, out of Easton Tubing. Not much else can kind of compete with that. Last but not least, our friend who just went through a redesign, the Chameleon. This is, I think, going to be the 10th anniversary of the Chameleon now. So the bike's been around for a long time, got a real loyal following. They've always been considered a very solid, dependable, sweetly performing hardtail. People have used them as jump bikes, people use them as cross-country hardtails, people use them as single speeds. Not always the lightest girl on the block, it's about 4.5 pound frame weight, but they've just got a really loyal following. Sweet handling, super bike. So we gave her a little bit of a makeover. 6069 aluminum, hydroform top tube. You can see how it kind of has a little ovalization at the front of things there, comes out, flattens, flares around the seat tube juncture here. The seat tube actually pierces it, and then comes back into a sort of a molded up set of seat stays that will come up, wrap, and drop down. Big boxy chain stays. You're not really going to have to consider anything like a flex issue with this. Eccentric bottom bracket. Love-hate relationship for some people, but if you're running a one-speed, it's kind of critical. We're able to go to vertical dropouts, whereas before we had horizontal dropouts. Now you're not going to worry about your wheel ever pulling. We can bottle opener, don't forget the bottle opener. You can have a single speed version of this or the derailleur mount version. The other good thing about an eccentric bottom bracket is it allows you the opportunity to effectively adjust your bottom bracket height and your seat angle. That might seem sort of like esoteric market speak, but gives you a degree or two of play in terms of what your effective seat angle is going to be, and it also does give you the option of choosing whether you want to have like a Carvalicious sweet low bottom bracket, or whether you want to have better pedal clearance for bunnying logs and doing whatever else you're going to do with it. Oh, hydroform down tube as well, big, beefy. Frame is not really any lighter than the old Chameleon. Dimensions haven't changed a huge amount, although we kind of designed it so the sweet spot of its handling is based around about a 20 millimeter taller fork than before. So it used to be 100 to 150 range fork. Now it's up, you know, really comfortable with a 120. You can run up to a 160 on it, or a 170 even, which might make it handle a little slack, but there we go. This one, the cross frame we just showed you, by the way, is available frame only. This one is going to be available on all of our build options, so you can make this anything from hardtail hucking bike to a pretty lightweight cross-country all-round trail bike. Look, we got nice head badges too. Ain't that pretty? All right.